Shalom, welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Chabad House of Delmar, and together with my co-host Marc Gronich of jbiztechvalley.com and statewide news service. Welcome, Marc.
It's good to be here.
We have a very good guest with us, Marty.
Marty Stein.
Marty Stein of KeHe Distributors, because you're the expert on kosher food.
And he was a judge at Kosherfest. And we have this gastronomic extravaganza here.
I thought you were inviting us for a meal, Marc.
No.
That's when I saw this food here over here.
We're going to discuss all the products.
So we're going to discuss. These are products that I was, Marty and I were at Kosherfest at the end of October.
Good.
And we had, there was probably 250 booths, and they had hundreds of products there that we don't see locally here.
Are they new products or mainly new products?
No, well, some of them are new, but some of them are just are sort of repeats or retreads or things that we don't see in this country even, that are in Israel but not here, because OSAM has this huge floor space where they have a huge exhibit of their foods, and they bring a lot of foods over from Israel.
Well, why don't we see them here? You made already a statement.
Yeah, we don't see them in this part of the country because some of these are in LA or they're in places where there are larger stores. And while we have, and they can move the product more too. So LA and the New York City metro area get, I think, first crack and have most variety of any place around the country. And then you have Chicago and you have southern Florida. And then
just
everything.
Not enough Jewish people here. Kosher
I mean,
people
if you look at New York City has a couple million people, a couple million Jews, and then and a variety of ethnicities that won't be Jewish but will buy kosher products.
Right.
And LA is the same situation, but LA, the space that they can build a supermarket is valuable. So they don't have the large supermarkets that we have here. They don't have in LA. So again, there aren't as many products, but there's about 1.5 million Jews in LA. But then again, the ethnicity issue, where they have many cultures in Southern California, and therefore they would buy kosher products more than here. And when you get to Chicago, where our friend Yaakov Yarmov now works, he was here in Albany for several years. He was saying Chicago is the third largest Jewish population, and it falls off to 300,000.
So it's like 1 and 2, and then that's
it falls right. And now we have 20,000 Jews in the capital district, greater capital district. But how many keep kosher, and then how many of other ethnicities will come in and buy kosher, and then how fast do the products move off the shelves locally here? And that's the issue. That's one of the 4 years ago there was this product made locally here called Mimic Cream. And it was literally mimicking cream, so it could be used for non-dairy, and for people who are gluten-free or people who are lactose intolerant. And it was supposed to take off. Price Chopper, I think, had it on their shelves for a few weeks, and because it didn't move and no one advertised it and no one knew it was there, it didn't move. They took it off the shelves. I just called the folks today to find out if they were still producing it, and they put their Mimic Cream on hold. They put that whole operation on hold, and I have yet to find out why. But again, it just shows you how difficult this industry is, and to survive in this industry is very difficult. It really is. It has to do with shelf space. It has to do with the size of supermarkets. It has to do with demographics and who will buy what, when, why, how,
But on the other hand, there is increasing a number of new products. So, I mean, there is a market there.
They were talking about, hummus of several years ago wasn't broad-based, mainstream, they call it. But now hummus is mainstream. And there are other products like that if you can get it into get a kosher product into a mainstream marketplace, then you're going to be more successful. But if it's something like borscht that'll just sit on a kosher shelf and only in that kosher section, which is only a few shelves in the back of a supermarket, it's not going to move. There was one product that used to be called Niafat, and it was a mayonnaise.
It's not made anymore.
It's not made anymore, but there are still, and it hasn't been made for many years, but there are still stores that have it on their shelf because it just sits there and it doesn't degrade, and it's just made out of all these chemicals. It just stays it has a shelf life of 500,000 years or something. You know? So it makes you wonder what it's made out of. But I think, Marty, what was your experience at
you're the
Kosherfest?
judge.
I saw a lot of new products, and new products are always the lifeblood of the industry. And I saw a lot of products that have been around for years, and they're still popular. So it's a mixed bag of products.
Literally. Like lettuce, mixed bag.
Right.
So we have this iceberg mix, which I was able to, well, they gave it to me, I didn't take it. But over here in the corner, it says something very interesting. It says, no checking or washing necessary. And it's like, you have to check the lettuce to make sure there are no bugs in there.
Because it's interesting, people, again, just as basic things of kosher, that, there's so many laws, will just, now we're dealing with really on this table, we're not mixing milk and meat, and that's very important, that milk and meat shouldn't be mixed together. They could be on the same table, though. But we're showing more of the meat, but lettuce is not meat, but there's other laws that people aren't familiar with. Of course, you can't have a non-kosher animal, so all these meat products are really not made out of pig. There's no ham sandwich here, so that's very important. But also, that one of the pastrami.
What's interesting is the corned beef is made with it's made with chicken and beef. They have
chicken also, but not ham.
No way, no ham.
No ham.
See, made with chicken and beef. The salami is made with chicken and beef.
You know what I think that a lot of people because people are so fat conscious. Like I remember when I was a kid, you had these meats in the deli, that deal with so much fat. So people are so fat conscious nowadays, and chicken is less cholesterol, and everybody with their cholesterol count and their fat, and so therefore they're making it more healthy. I just wanted to explain really what this lettuce, what does it mean, no checking? Because besides the meat, like I was just saying about no pig, and people know that for the most part, obviously bugs are not a kosher product either. So you say, of course, I'm not going to have bugs in it. Of course, but really in vegetables, sometimes these bugs are infested inside of the lettuce or whatever kind of vegetables you may have. So therefore, really should be checked. There's no bugs. But this news is, well, of course, if you have a salad and you're checking every piece of lettuce, just that it should be kosher, no bugs, then that's a big headache.
And kosher taste is not a product that we would necessarily see here in the Albany area. So that's why I got this to bring back. And it's also kosher for Passover and year round. And it has a CRC, I guess that's from Canada, CRC? Or what's CRC from? The kosher
CRC is from Chicago.
Chicago.
Okay.
But they have, this is very interesting also, if maybe you can't see it so far, but there are 3 different kosher symbols. Many times that, here they are, very good. 3 symbols, all of them here, and 1, 2, and 3. And the reason is because that people always want to just be sure it's kosher, and therefore they want to know that their specific kosher rabbi is looking at and make sure it's kosher. And this is very ultra-Orthodox, namely that you could really have the OU, which is probably the #1 certification on the products, but people, like I was saying, they want to be especially sure, but there's kosher, different levels of kosher. They want to be sure it's kosher, and that's why people are wondering, why does lettuce, what's not kosher about lettuce, not made
No, that's very important for you to explain it. I appreciate that.
Pig fat, obviously there's no pig in lettuce.
Marty, what was your impression of some of the new products? You want to talk about some of the new products?
think
anything on the table here?
Good. There are a lot of innovative products. For example, you've got this product right here.
You're showing up now.
Here it's honey garlic. It's good for seasoning and marinades, and it's very versatile.
Can you get it in a non-kosher product? Sometimes you can.
You can. There's
really,
a multitude of brands that have the same attributes that
they want to mimic over here.
They're
these
non-kosher.
Well, things that get popular, people want to say, hey, I want it in kosher. I'd like to have it. It's not kosher. Get me it in kosher. And that, the demand, drives the market.
So start off with the beginning of a meal, let's say. After you wash your hands. And
you
then
wash your hands, you have to have...
You say your blessing over wine, right, first? You say
well, that's on Friday night. You don't have to have wine all the time.
Well, you can have wine.
That's
You
so
can
much
have
Friday
wine.
night.
Nothing to stop you from having wine. So
Yeah, I'm not saying.
we got a couple of brands here that we really don't see very much of in the Capital District. It's a very, so Baron de Rothschild, I don't know where you would get that if it's not around here. So.
I know, but the truth of the matter is, Mark, that you
can
you can get kosher wine. I don't say that we're such a desert of kosher.
No, we're not. No, you
yeah.
can't. But I meant that one brand, that one type.
Most of these special things you cannot get.
Most of the mom and pop wine and liquor stores do carry kosher wines.
Yeah, that's important.
And the larger wine and liquor stores carry the larger shelf, they have more shelf space, so they'll carry more. And you can always go to them and say, could you order
Special
something
request
for me?
them.
Yeah, so just people should know that we're in the Capital District, of course, where people are viewing this, and of course that you can get kosher meat. I mean, not in such a great variety. We're just saying, hey, expand your horizons, and you really can get a lot more, but of course, you can get meats and you can get wine.
So after you say the blessing on
the wine on Friday night,
you
go for the challah. So this is a regular challah. It's braided. As you see, I mean, you get just a regular old rye bread. It's just flat and just one piece. And here it's just different pieces. I mean, we should have a kosher cooking class here. A baking class, maybe we'll do that in the future. But in any case, these are made up of different places. The reason it's braided, and here also Marc is showing one.
Black and white. You got one that's a black and white. It's
pumpernickel
and rye bread.
And sesame seeds. You can have poppy seeds on them. The reason is because on Friday night, which is the Sabbath, on the Shabbos, and therefore you want to make everything beautiful. That's why you start with a cup of wine. That's something very nice. It's not just a cup of water or orange juice, it's a cup of nice wine. And your bread should be very, we have another one Marc's going to show, kind of.
This was fun. I saw this and I said, I really want to bring this back. This was kind of creative, and this shows you what you could do with dough when you make it in your own home. A lot of people locally make their challahs at home, and they can put them in different shapes, and I thought this was kind of creative, and I just wanted to show that.
Also, at the show, there was a line of pre-made mixes that you can make your own holly from the mix. There are 4 different flavors there.
And it's also not just water challah, but it's also egg challah. A lot of the challahs we have here are water challah, but then you have the egg challah.
Yeah, that's very important. I know that a lot of, like you were saying before, Marc, a lot of non-Jewish people like the extra, they like Jewish rye bread. So I know people come into the store and it's, obviously they're not Jewish, and say, hey, give me some of that egg bread, because that's something, that's why I was asking Marty that, I don't go along to the non-kosher shelves, but certain things that you can only get in kosher, which is egg challah, so therefore, people know that or they've tasted it and they've gone to a Jewish home and they want specifically that kosher brand.
And at the seminars, I was listening to what was being said, and it was sort of like, the more these products can cross over from being a specialty item to being a mainstream item, you're going to see, supermarkets carrying more variety and not just have a kosher section, but you can go throughout a supermarket and you can find kosher products. Now, Gus's pickles, for example, we don't have up here. Haven't seen them up
here. They're here.
They're here in Price Chopper?
Yeah, they're in Price Chopper.
They're in Price Chopper. Gus's pickles, I never saw them before. So they were made in the...
Gus's are famous. You have to tell the story behind them.
Please do.
There's people on the Lower East Side. No, this is famous. You say, Gus, Schmus, who cares what kind of pickle it is? Some kind of pickles. These are famous for the Lower East Side. People would come all over in the world and stick their hand. This is before.
In the barrel?
Yeah, I know.
Esther Street.
Yeah, I know they wouldn't. I don't know if they would allow it today. people more health conscious, they stick their hand in the barrel, put out his big pickle. And I always say, give me a nickel a pickle. I said that to the store person today. He says, Rabbi, you haven't seen a nickel a pickle in 50 years over here. So it's not, I'm sure it's not a nickel a pickle.
No, definitely not.
But these are famous for people that know the Lower East Side of New York. And now, they're getting mass-produced also, and they're putting them in jars, not in the pickle barrel.
And I guess they're out on Long Island now to be...
But this is actually a new package. It's plastic.
Yes.
So when you ship it, it costs less for the freight because it's less weight and it's low profile than a glass. It fits better in the refrigerator.
Mm-hmm. And it won't break.
Right, when you drop it.
All right, so we got our little...
challah. Right. We're after a little pickle.
Right.
So keep on feeding you, or we're going to get too hungry here. Now maybe we should sit down and eat. Yeah.
And now we have the meats, the main dish. You got hot dogs over there, and you got...
Just people should say the hot dogs aren't your regular Sabbath meal, obviously.
No,
you don't
it's not, but we didn't have the chicken, and we didn't have the cholent, so...
Chicken soup or something.
It's not necessarily a Shabbos meal, it's an everyday meal. Right. But this was something that Jack's Gourmet, and unfortunately, he only gave me the box. So I don't have the...
Contents.
I don't have the contents
hamburger
inside.
patties?
I wanted the contents, but this is the second time I asked him, and he only gave me the box. But these are really delicious meats.
You got the deli mustard. But if you're going to talk about deli, you better put the mustard on there.
That's right. So you got the deli, you got the thing, you got the bread to slice, and it's just a wonderful gastronomic extravaganza here. And just so you shouldn't, and let's see some of the hot dogs. Let's
okay, here we
show
go.
the hot dogs
right here.
We have.
People.
Now this is Shor Habor.
Shor Habor is they're coming out of Iowa because they're not no more chickens and hamburgers really in New York State. Again, not kosher. Usually Pennsylvania or now all the way obviously the Midwest. That's where they have the cows. And these are just a lot of kosher brands. Mm-hmm. I know people are very health conscious nowadays. And, like I say, it's supply and demand. People want kosher. Like you said, illegal non-Jews want kosher. But there's also a lot of healthy brands that are really driving the market over here. Quinoa, crisp, sea salt. I know people say sea salt, it's healthier for you. Of course it is. Gluten-free, wheat-free.
Good tasting, too.
Yeah, all right. So that's what I'm saying is very, very interesting that they're super kosher here. And but on the other hand, it's super healthy. You see trans fat and free of MSG, free preservatives. So it's not just always the pastrami and I hate to say you get a heart attack early in life with all that, but you got a diet. But, it's important that not only people think, oh, yeah, pickle and a hot dog, oh, it's going to do my cholesterol no good. So, but in any case, here also, popcorn chips, very interesting. Again, sea salt, as you see, gluten-free. Again, these are new things. I don't know if anybody was gluten-free when I was a kid.
The kosher products have sea salt, and the non-kosher products have kosher salt.
A good one over here.
So and then here you have popcorn, or popped corn. It's corn that has been popped, sweet and salty. That's parv.
Wait a minute, you're forgetting one major thing over here, a l'chaim over here.
You have a l'chaim.
L'chaim means to life, and you say that's, for the people who don't know, that when you have you toast, people say cheers in English, but in Hebrew you say l'chaim, to life. That everything, even though that maybe in the olden days, in order to put someone to sleep and to knock them out, you wouldn't have an anesthesiologist, you would have l'chaim. So this is for life, it should only be good things, but really...
And this won the award.
Really?
Right?
That's Marty is saying.
Packaging was a factor in it. The taste was good.
Taste was dry, sweet, what was it? Probably dry.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Well, lucky I'm not the judge. I wouldn't even know sweet or rye. I'm still on the grape syrup.
Yeah.
But no, but that's important for our viewers. I think, Marc, that's very important because again, I was making a joke, but it's like only half true. They remember grape syrup. What kind of wine? I want a real wine, so it's not kosher. Hey, wait a minute. You can get some of the best wines in kosher products nowadays. I think that's one of the major, it's not just we were talking about the variety, which is of course very nice, but the quality is top. People know, like I said, maybe a kosher pickle and even a kosher hot dog, okay, but wine, I have to be sophisticated, I have to get some French wine, and you can get some really high quality wines in the kosher style.
Also at the show, there were a lot of different grape juices, sparkling and non-sparkling, and they're very popular.
Yeah, but they were very sweet. It was very sweet when I saw it. I wanted to also, staying on the wine for a minute, because Marty Herzog, who's the vice president for sales of Herzog Wines, he was at the, and KeHe, he was at the seminars that they had. They do have educational seminars. It's not all about eating and drinking. But he says, in terms of the observant consumer, we don't think there the 10% growth in people who are observant kosher now. There was talk about how observant kosher, or kosher has really
10%
expanded.
of Jewish people?
But it's been 10% of all. There was a spike of 10%. And despite the large families in the kosher market, if you look at the loss the kosher community is having by the Reform and Conservative markets, keeping less and less kosher, so we don't think that there's a growth in observance of 10%, but the consumer spending is going up, and that has a lot to do with the innovation. The 10% is more of a contribution that has to do with the spending of the kosher observant consumer versus an actual population growth in kosher observance. And I thought that was an interesting observation, because he really fine-tunes the
market,
the marketplace.
Market survey.
Yeah. So the wines that are really getting to market are something that's the average. He says the average bottle of kosher wine on the shelves goes for $17 average retail. The average bottle of wine non-kosher is $7 or $8. The reason for that, the kosher community that does drink usually are the more premium, where in general you have the non-kosher world, everybody is drinking. So it's jug wine, but everyone is drinking a bottle of wine with their dinner in the non-Jewish community.
It's more like supply, meaning like there's so much demand.
So the people that are the drinkers in the kosher world are usually the more affluent consumer. It has to do with, in some cases, where kosher wine is more expensive. For example, wines from France, where there are the well-known Bordeaux's, they make a small little batch of kosher wines. They'll be more expensive, but traditionally the kosher consumer spends more on wine, is at this point growing at a much faster pace than the general market. So that's our good friend Jay Bindel likes to have the highest quality wine at his place. So when I saw this, I got to tell him about it. He's someone who's
looking for better wine.
Yeah, he says the general market wine consumption has grown over the last 3 years by 7%, where kosher wine consumption over the last 3 years has grown by more than 15%. We're behind, but we're growing at a much more rapid pace.
So it's excellent. Is that because the more Jewish people also are keeping kosher? I mean,
no, he says less and less are, but the more affluent are, and there are better wines now. So there are more non-Jews who want kosher wines now because they're winning awards, they're winning wine contests.
I wouldn't think that's interesting that you brought that out. I wouldn't even think that.
And
because I know like a kosher hot dog, but like a non-Jewish person to have a kosher wine.
We also have a gentleman in our a couple of people in our community who are from South Africa and Johannesburg, and they had this. Every time I see Joburg, I think of Johannesburg, and that's what the symbol is. The logo is all about Johannesburg products that are coming. We won't see this here. But I brought this for some of the folks who are from South Africa.
When here in Albany or New York?
In the Albany area, we won't really
beef
see
jerky,
this.
I mean.
Not just beef jerky, but the Joburg brand. We won't see in the area here. And hopefully someday will, but...
Maybe it'll happen.
You can never tell.
It depends.
It depends how experimental people want to be. So this is also a couple of other Joburg products that... are very good. I mean, I tasted them at the show. They're extremely, it's tender. It's they had little samples, and I just think that you see garlic flavor, you see traditional flavor, and I just think this is part of what all of these folks are trying to do in terms of expanding their marketplace and expanding where they want people to latch on, not just because it's a kosher product, but because it's a good product that happens to be kosher.
Marty, we have a few more things on the table, so why don't you explain to us what they are?
Well, there's one thing that's not here that won an award. It was a pre-sliced brisket.
Yeah, they didn't give me
Really?
Yeah, you didn't get a sample of that?
A brisket already.
I tried. I really tried.
That was delicious. It won the award for best category in meat, and it's very quick and convenient, easy to serve, and boy, was it delicious.
Oh, that you remember.
Oh, yes.
That's what he voted for. He's the judge over here.
Now, this ginger ale is made from real ginger root. In fact, the ginger root you could see is even on the bottom here. I don't know if you're going to get a good
like
shot
a sediment, like a sediment.
It's sediment, and it's right there
people see it.
on the bottom of the.
That's
it's
very
a real
interesting.
ginger root, and they had these weird-looking ginger roots that I didn't know what they were at the time, and I got a good education about ginger ale.
This is great.
Yes,
Really?
very
I never
good.
had such a thing. I mean,
Very
I had
good.
ginger ale and, in the regular things, but this is real
This
things.
is very different than
Yeah,
what
it's different ginger.
than what you
Different
think
than your normal ginger ale. Let's put it that way.
So,
Very good tasting.
A few more minutes to
talk
go.
about Matt's Munchies here.
I'll hold it up. And
Yeah,
hold it up.
Marty, why don't
Very
you
good
start?
snack for children and young adults and even adults.
Where are you gonna-
It's formed,
We have
Form
five
for
different
little-
flavors here.
right, formed for little fingers. Little children can eat it. It's very nutritional, and it doesn't take up much room in storage. You can put it in a lunchbox or bring it to the office and put it in your desk and have something to nosh on during the day.
But again, it's just what I'm trying to emphasize, that the kosher consumer is getting healthier and healthier. Like I said, we started off with a hot dog and a pickle, and I don't know how healthy that is. But in any case, 40 calories is what one serving of food, no GMOs, and handcrafted organic coconut. I mean, again, organic and no gluten-free and constantly.
kosher.
Yeah,
All
it's
the good
kosher.
All the good stuff.
Yeah,
But anyway, the flavors. I mean, you got apricot,
All right, so
you
show
got
'em all.
Mango,
and then you got
you hold
acai.
all the good flavor
we
profiles.
have like 5 different ones.
But the danger with something like this is that people are not going to know what these flavors are, and they're not going to want to try them. But hopefully they'll be more experimental with their taste buds. But that's something that they said. There are a lot more products in Israel that OSIM doesn't bring over because our taste buds are different than the Israeli
That's
taste
very
buds.
interesting.
So
Really.
there's, like a couscous. There's Israeli couscous, which doesn't taste well to Americans. So they bring couscous here that's not Israeli couscous. They're two different types of couscous. But there's other items also that, they were mentioning a few of the items that they, that are popular here in the United States, but the Israelis won't touch them. And someone said, don't you have issues with marketing Israel products? Bamba, the Bamba story. I got to tell you that story quickly. We're running out of time. But there's Bamba is a peanut cheese doodle with cheese. With the cheese, if they can't sell cheese doodles in Israel. It doesn't taste good, so they have these peanut style cheese doodles, and everyone. So the woman asked, "Don't you have peanut allergies in Israel?" And they say, "No. For the most part, no one has a peanut allergy because when a baby is teething, the doctor, the pediatrician, will give the baby. They'll tell the parents to give the baby these Bamba peanut cheese doodles." And they build up a resistance to the peanut allergy at a very early age, and we don't do that here. So we have peanut allergies at a later. But they give it to them at a very early age. So I got to tell you, the inventor of cheese doodles passed away about 3 years ago, and he was Jewish. So he was a Sephardic Jew from Brooklyn named Mori Yochai. Little things you learn from the Kosherfest. I mean,
You're our
trivia.
Yeah, trivia.
Who knew cheese doodles were made by a Sephardic Jew? So Runa, you want to talk about Runa?
Runa, I don't know about Runa. Clean energy. I thought it was to put in your gas tank, but all right. So I guess it's not.
And I think we covered everything on the table. Because
what is this, just a drink? I mean,
it's just an energy drink,
Energy drink.
and different flavors. Again, they were very generous folks over there, and they I tasted it. It was delicious. I really enjoyed it. It gave me a lot of energy to carry all these products out.
It really was good.
That's a very popular category, energy drinks.
Really?
And
that's a very big thing.
To enter the kosher market, that shows you that it's popular.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's excellent over here. So again, I guess to sum up, that so many new products, but old good products, good kosher hot dog is typical. We forgot the
spinach knishes.
What Jewish person doesn't eat a knish over here? I think afterwards, Marc, are you inviting us over for dinner?
I'm going to invite you over for a snack, yeah. So
getting us hungry, all our viewers hungry. But, that's the bottom line, is just that kosher isn't just old hat like a filter fish and borscht, in which we didn't even have on the table.
Right.
But we have brand new, cutting edge, like healthy choices, good for the palate, the best wines, and really any person who wants to be a kosher consumer, you're getting extra healthy, because it's not only, of course, USDA, but rabbis are inspecting it, and you're getting a good quality and good tasting food. So that's, I think, important for our viewers to know.
Okay, so this was really a lot of fun. It's one of our most funnest? No, that's not a word. I'm just teasing. I'm going to get hit.
Delightful.
But it was delightful. Yes, that's a nice word.
Yes.
So I'm glad that we were able to all share with this, and hopefully you can go to your supermarket retailer and Price Chopper ShopRite Hannaford and tell them that you want some of these products that they don't carry right now. And they'll listen.
Yeah,
and
supply and demand.
But
if there is enough demand, people will want it, and then it'll be there, and it'll be cyclical. So thank you very much, Marty, for being on our show from KeHe Distributor. And of course, Marc over here, I hope he's going to invite us over for a snack.
I will share. I do share.
All right. But thank you very much.
Okay.